Hello everyone and welcome back. And welcome to all those who are new to the channel. Hi, how are you?
I'm still here for the most part, so I guess I'm doing good.
I appreciate y'all getting on board this train wreck nonsense. So this episode was another ride into the depths of hell, right? Especially with everyone's favorite POSs at the wheel. So we're going to start off with Faith and the human equivalent of vomit. So they're about to go out and see the sights and explore Manila. Wait, is it Manila? It's somewhere in the Philippines. I think it's Manila. Anyways, so they're about to explore and go to the market. But before they can do that, Brian has to exchange all the money that he brought on the trip. All $46.
Is this all you have for this trip?
Yes, Faith. You're not only dating a cheating piece of garbage, you're dating a mooching cheating piece of garbage with zero financial sense. Like, who the hell goes on a trip with that amount of money? Especially for 3 weeks. So according to this loser, he has a check coming in at some point that's going to be deposited into his account.
I mean, I have some more money, but it's like an pending charge. So I just got to keep checking my bank to see if it goes back up. I'm sure.
I see where this is all going. He's going to be like, oh, the check didn't go through. Oh, there's some sort of exchange nonsense, blah, blah, bullshit story. And he's just going to end up mooching off Faith the entire time. I mean, honestly, you really shouldn't be traveling around the globe if you can't even afford a roof over your head. But as we all know, he's just trying to scam and live off Faith, which is why he's there. Oh, and also to avoid child support as well. And, Faith is kind of like, what the hell?
In America, there is so much more opportunity. So it doesn't make sense.
Oh, sweetie. If you only knew, the whole America financial exceptionalism thing is long gone. We're all struggling and drowning in debt here. So they get to the market and, oh man, can we talk about the food? Yes, let's talk about the food. It looks fucking delicious. So even though, he has very little money, little goes a long way in the Philippines. So Numbnuts over here is very excited about how cheap everything is because that means the $43 is just definitely going to pay for everything. So he buys some shoes, he buys Faith a dress. He's spending money right and left here.
You must be careful because we need to spend your money in a good way.
I wonder why he's always broke. Maybe it's because he has poor management skills. Do you guys know anyone like that in their life? I know someone like that as soon as they get paid, all their money goes out the window and then they're broke for the rest of the time until they get the next paycheck. That's him.
He's spending like crazy at the market. He seems very impulsive. That worries me.
Well, I'm glad she's caught on to that. Because, yeah, it's all cute and dandy having your boyfriend buy you crap. Unless that means that he's not going to be able to eat because he spent all that money on nonsense. And then he's just going to end up mooching off you after it. So it's nighttime. And they're getting ready to go eat dinner with Faith's good friend, Mama Ding, who lives in the hotel. Like Faith, she lives there and works there. So they get down to where Mama Ding lives and, they have dinner. And during this dinner conversation, Mama Ding asks Vomit what his plan is, with Faith, what's your life plan? And Vomit here tells them
There's an idea where I don't just go home. I just stay here somehow.
And this is news to Faith, and not good news by the look on her face. I mean, originally their plan was that she would be moving to the US, and now change of plans by dog breath over here.
It's a big shock for me. He never told me he wanted to leave her instead.
Well, Loren is full of horrible surprises, and this is only the beginning. And the two girls are dumbfounded about the fact that he wants to live in the Philippines because, life is hard in the Philippines and you don't make that much money. And he lets us know that it's pretty impossible to bring Faith over because he's homeless.
I don't make enough money to afford to live anywhere.
And sidebar, I'm not dogging on anyone who's lost their home and had to move in with a relative or a family member or something like that. Growing up, my mom and I were homeless at one point. So it can happen to anyone, but this ding-dong over here looks like someone who knows he can mooch off everyone and not have to bear any adult responsibility, so he doesn't care that he's leeching onto everyone and not having a roof over his head. Faith's face has disappointment written all over it. I mean, can you imagine that bit of info thrown on your lap like that? Not only does this man not have any money for the 3-week vacation that he just pulled out, but he also doesn't have a place to live, no address to send his mail, no closet to hang his clothes in. Faith's dreams just got crushed a tiny bit during this dinner.
It worries me that he is such a bad place financially.
But worry not, my friends, because Loren here can make it work. Because he can get a computer job in the States and work remotely in the Philippines. Like, it's the easiest thing to do. I mean, maybe it is. I don't really know. But this just seems like he just pulled it out of his ass right now. I need to take a minute because my dog Mango wants to tell you to like and subscribe. All right, let's get back to the show.
Do you have those skills?
So I have some IT training. I can answer a phone and take phone calls.
Regardless, if this computer job does not work out, he can always do, as he puts it, he can always do pest control or fast food or drive a truck. And it's like, Loren, you have to know the language to get these jobs. And you don't know squat. And from the looks of it, you look like you don't really give a shit to learn the language either. This man lives in some delusion, or he just tries to sell delusion to other people when he really knows that he's just going to sit there and do nothing. And at the end of this whole dinner, Faith lets us know that she's just happy that he accepts her for who she is. And girl, that is not enough. Love is not enough. Acceptance is not enough. But anyways, we all know that these are things that we learn the hard way, right? Unfortunately. So, cut to even worse news, and Loren lets us know that he got a text from a friend, letting him know that he has gonorrhea of the mouth. I mean, I must have been taking a nap in health class that day because I didn't know you can get gonorrhea in the mouth. And how this happened is that I guess a girlfriend was sleeping over somewhere with him. I didn't understand if he got the full Monty, if you know what I mean. Or if she just went downtown. Regardless, he has something going on downstairs right now, as he told us, which leads him to believe that he might have gonorrhea himself in his peenie.
I'm really nervous to tell Faith about this. I don't know if she fully understands that I haven't been monogamous.
So we're going to leave these two here and move on to the other smelly garbage. So let's talk about the fake foolery that is Adnan and Dingleberries. Sorry, no, what the fuck is her name? Tigerlily. I wasn't even trying to be stupid. I was just honestly stupid. And honestly, if they're going to be frauding, can you at least make it remotely entertaining?
I love you so much. Okay, let's get ready, baby.
Okay.
These two are as exciting as, I can't even think of anything as boring as these two to compare them to. These two aren't even as boring as a doctor's office waiting room. I mean, because there you at least have magazines. And who doesn't love finding out what the stars look like without their makeup, huh? So Snooze Fest 1 and Snooze Fest 2 are all excited as they can possibly be because it's their wedding day, their wedding party day, also known as Adnan Day.
Adnan. Festival Adnan.
This one is such a diva. So Diva Adnan here is leaving their hotel room to go change in his brother's room. And when he's leaving, Tigerlily's payroll besties are at the door. So Adnan tells payroll besties that no matter what, Tigerlily cannot be left alone in a room with a man.
A cruise when Tigerlily with you, Shay, I want you there all the time.
Which means that Shay needs to stand guard at all times and never let Cruz or anyone with a peen alone with Tigerlily. Oh, and Cruz can only touch her hair, so no hanky-panking. So then we have a knock-knock at the door. Knock-knock. And it's two male videographers. What do you know? I guess they're trying to add spice to the story by making this a sausage fest. So Tigerlily is all confused because Adnan doesn't want her to be around a man.
Adnan arranged for these videographers. I guess it makes it okay.
What the hell is she going to do with these dudes here? Like, Shay can't even go take a dump without it's a mess. Unfortunately for Shay, she's stuck there not being able to do her makeup, but whatever. So it's the next scene, and I guess at this point Shay got her makeup, and, they get into some girl talk about how Adnan is in bed. And she says that he was terrific.
So I wonder how he knew what to do then.
And then this one says,
Don't men just know what to do?
She's a poster child for Born Yesterday, I swear. Like, where does she come up with this? It's like she just hatched from her little egg or was, let out of her cave or whatever. So Tigerlily is all done up and meets her 22-year-old Prince Charming. And they look smitten with each other. And it's probably going to go downhill after this night, as it always does. But at least we have this moment, right? So they get in the car. And the one thing I did gather from all this is that Adnan is not the usual broke guy these MILFs pick up. Like, this dude comes from money, which is a plus for Tigerlily because at least we know that he won't suck her out of all of her money when they get a divorce, just part of it. So let's talk about 27 going on 35, Veah. So as we all know, this idiot is taking her ex-boyfriend / BFF to meet her new boyfriend in South Africa.
When he finds out, it could mess up everything. I think it's going to be fine. I mean, I like to think on the positive side.
Why? Because she's nervous about traveling. I mean, she's afraid her phone won't work, and she's just an anxious person all around, it seems. And I get you need the buddy system when traveling, but you couldn't find another buddy? Like, there wasn't another buddy that you didn't sleep with at some point, that wasn't your boyfriend at some point? You had to pick this one? Okay. Sure. So she's stupid and nuts, and Sunny is no better, really, because she is going on this trip, she's had to pick up extra shifts at work to make more money. And this doesn't sit well with Sunny because he's not getting enough attention. Ugh. Call the ambulance, you little man baby. You don't want a wife, you want a mother. Like, I couldn't handle one of these people. Like, I mean, who has time for this stupidity in their lives? Seriously. So then they have a shower scene that no one asked for. Topped with a conversation about religion because he's Muslim and she isn't. Well, at least they're talking about this a week prior to their possible engagement as opposed to a few hours before their engagement or marriage, which is generally what all these fools do. So according to him, he doesn't care if she converts to Islam, but at the same time he does. Even though he isn't strict about his religion, he's, drinks and stuff. Anyway.
You want me to become Muslim?
I don't want you to become Muslim, but I will ask you.
Long story short, I'm sure this is going to become an issue thanks to the producers pushing buttons to create tension where there probably isn't any, or very little of it. So cut to her ex-boyfriend gets there. Yay. I know. Bad choice. Really bad choice. But, more popcorn drama for us, right? And I'm sure we're all here for it. So Rorey here has some sense about himself because he's not very happy about the fact that Sunny has no fucking clue that he's coming.
Her not telling Sunny that I'm coming is such a crazy thing. It's like a big thing to be hiding from somebody.
But she rationalizes it with the fact that, it's going to be easier to do it in person because, she's going to be able to read his vibe. And it's like, girl, you need better life strategies because this ain't it. So anyways, these two are getting ready to leave to go to another country, see how this ends. Probably not good. So let's get into Brian, the creepy-ass incel, and Ingrid, his latest young victim. And first of all, I have to start off with something I did not notice in the last episode that completely grossed me out. So when they were in the hotel scene, I didn't realize that he was jerking his Johnson with the door open. To put his catheter on. I mean, that's just... There are many words in the dictionary to describe how disgusting that is. And how just... what's the word? It's just not just disgusting. It's just disrespectful. Like, be a man about things. Be a gentleman about things, please. Because that isn't a very gentleman-y thing to do. And I was reading the Reddit on this whole situation, and apparently a lot of wheelchair users and nurses chimed in to say that you don't have to choke your chicken to put on a catheter, as he stated. I'm not sure if that's true at the end of the day, but if it is true, then this man is a predatory pervert, like, for real. First of all, he goes after women with lesser means in developing nations, younger women, I might add, because all the women that he dated before, the blurred out photos, all those girls looked like they were in their 20s. But anyways, I digress. Let's talk about this episode, right? The one that just happened. So this last episode was nonsense. There was a lot to unpack for poor Ingrid here. So we're going to start off with the day after the eventful night. He's waking up next to her, and you can still tell that she's kind of in her feelings about what happened the night before, which is completely understandable. And he tells us that, they didn't have sex, but it's cool. And he reflects on all that happened the night before and how Ingrid seemed uncomfortable with all the stuff that he was piling onto her, about what it's like to care for someone who is in a wheelchair. And as much as, yes, at some point Ingrid will have to deal with the good, the bad, and the ugly of all it. But on the first night, nah, too much. Way too much. Even if you're not in a wheelchair, you don't reveal all your stuff on the first night. You just don't. You're going to scare a person away, no matter what. Trust me.
Usually when I meet somebody that's not used to life in a wheelchair, it's definitely a learning curve and some time for them to catch up.
Brian, was this a job interview for a caretaker, or is this someone that you love and care for? Because the words that you're using sounds more like something that you say to a new employee, not the lady you love. Ingrid says that she's confused because, according to him, he said that he, lived independently and he could do everything on his own. And then he kept asking her to, do the car thing and then the catheter thing and then the shower thing. And he seems like a liar to her now, when it was actually him testing her. So not a good move on Brian's part. So cut to Ingrid and Brian are leaving for Ingrid's hometown.
Diga onde você também gostaria de andar, de passear, de conhecer. Fala também.
Oh, Ingrid, you do have a lot to learn. Maybe start off by not saying, do you want to walk around when you ask him what you want to do? Let's start off with that first. So Brian says that the one thing that he wants to do is to meet people, like meet Ingrid's people, like her friends, her family. And she says that she hasn't told many people, including her parents. Why? Because everyone is very thick-headed and her dad is very ignorant. So that's why the parents don't even know, because apparently Ingrid's dad is a handful. And I can see how this could be upsetting for Brian, because it's like, it's been 2 years and you haven't told anyone about us. So anyway, so they're talking about how much her dad sucks and how he's ignorant. And Brian asks, how old is your dad? How old is he? And she's like, I think she said it was 54. And Brian's like, oh, well, that's my age. I'm 51. And Ingrid's like, you told me you were 43. Yeah.
Era 45. Então você mentiu a sua idade pra mim.
And I knew it. I remember in the first episode, she said something like, oh, he's 43. And I thought I was being delusional or something, or not listening or not understanding correctly. But no, she did say that. And she says, well, it's in your dating profile. Like, you lied to me. And here he is gaslighting her and us, denying that he lied.
Ele disse pra mim que tinha 43 anos. Era a idade do perfil no site, né, de relacionamento.
And any of you out there who have had the unfortunate circumstance of online dating in this day and age, you know that the one thing that is for certain that is on your dating profile besides your photo is your age. So he's completely lying here. Like, he's completely lying about a lot of things. Brian, you think that we're all stupid? You really do. When actually, you're the one who's a conniving, gross-ass liar. So Ingrid, this is strike 2 for him. Remember that. So anyways, Liar Liar Pants on Fire says, well, I guess there was some bad communication about, the whole age thing.
Apparently there was a miscommunication somewhere because I never told her that I was younger.
Motherfucker, stop. Again, you're lying. You're gaslighting. You knew you were going to be on the show where they had to know your actual age for legal purposes, and they would have to put it on the screen. So now you're here acting like the world doesn't know anything about dating apps, and that this girl is like dumb and stupid and didn't listen and didn't pay attention to you. The nerve of this man, truly. And then he says, well, age is nothing but a number, it's only 5 years. Yeah, I'm sure age is nothing but a number to you because she's young. But it might be a different story for her. And I think the issue here is more the fact that you lied. This man, from the minute I saw him on the screen, the first episode, I was like, something ain't right about him. So on to the next truth-telling topic of the car ride from hell. And Ingrid asks, hey, how did you end up in a wheelchair? Like, what happened?
Tô pensando, eu nunca contei pra você que eu vendi droga. Contei não?
Não.
Eita.
And again, with this one, he knows he never told her. He knows he never had this conversation. And he's playing with her right now again. He tells her that he used to drink a lot and do, Coca-Cola Classic. And this stuff, you should have really told her. You've had 2 years to tell her. This is part of your story.
Comecei, eu vendi por 5 anos. Usei também.
Ai.
And if you say, as he said, that he's not ashamed of his past, then you should have been telling her since, I don't know, not the first day. Obviously, but you should have at least told her a few months into the situation, or at least a year, not 2 years and then waiting until you're face to face. I think it's kind of manipulative, if you really ask me, because he was planning to be intimate with her before telling her all this. Like, what a bag of dicks. So back to the how I got pow-powed story. And according to him, he wanted out of the drug game, and he told his ex-wife that he didn't want to deal anymore and that, he didn't love her anymore. And I guess that's when the ex-wife sent some dudes on him and the whole carjacking thing happened, or they got out of the car and started,
Deu tiro, mas não pensei que uma bala vai me bater assim.
Okay, personally, something about this story, I don't know. I mean, can we really trust this person? He hasn't been honest. And, I'm not saying that the whole story isn't real. I just feel like there's probably a lot of stuff that he did not include in the story. So now Ingrid is worried, if he might go back to doing the stuff, the Coca-Cola Classic stuff. And I can understand why, why she has this feeling. I mean, first of all, she's never been around people that do drugs. She's never done drugs herself. She has children. She tells us, like, what if we get married and you start doing this stuff? It's an understandable fear because she didn't even know his real age until a few hours ago. So anything is possible here, at least in her mind. I mean, I honestly don't think that he might go back to dealing drugs, but if I were in her shoes, I know where I would probably be afraid of that too. Brian tells us that he's offended by Ingrid's comments. Well, you want to know what, Brian? We're offended too. We're offended that you made her take your pants off and that you jerk your chicken in the next room for all of us to hear. So checkmate, buddy. So cut to, they get to the hotel, and she's hella overwhelmed by everything. I mean, it's a lot for 2 days.
Então, me deixou muito a pensar, assim, sabe? Eu me sinto, sim, enganada.
So yeah, so it ends with, her being very, very confused and scared, and, Brian's still hurt and in the pool, but we're going to leave this heap of smelly garbage for next week. So now let's go on to our new victim of the show, and that is Niles Valentine. And what a great name. I really love it. So Niles Valentine has autism spectrum disorder. He's very sensitive to light, sounds, and smells.
So that right there, for me, that feels worse than having a hammer to the head.
And that was so interesting, the smell part, because he tells us how he can smell the paint on the wall, the wood. And I'm sure this can be a blessing and a curse at the same time. I'm sure it's more of a curse than anything, depending on where you are. So he also is, very awkward in social situations, which, people on the spectrum can sometimes tend to be. Because of all this, he loves his job. He works as a peer advocate for disabled people. I'm guessing it was for disabled people because he didn't really say exactly where it was. But, he loves helping others that are in the same situation. So he has a way of responding to certain questions, and I thought this was very adorable.
Hi, Gary. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm still here for the most part.
Adorable. Because repetition is security to him. And I love this guy. I mean, I'm sure he'll do something to piss me off by the next episode, like they all do, but I'm going to enjoy his weird adorableness for this episode at least. So we meet the love of his life, Matilda, who we met online. And I say this like it's ever anything different than meeting online. They all meet online, right? Like, why do I even have to say that? So Niles Valentine is going to go to, and I forget where, I'm so sorry, but somewhere in Africa. He's going to go meet Matilda. And he's very excited because he's going to finally be able to hold her face in his hands. So Niles Valentine apparently proposed to Matilda over the phone like 5 months ago. And she said yes. So because of this, she wants to marry Niles Valentine on this trip. And he's really stressed about it because he doesn't want to marry her right away. He's freaking out. He's scared. And he doesn't even want to tell her that he doesn't want to get married.
Are you afraid to tell her no? To tell you the truth, Braylon, I am.
And I'm thinking, you shouldn't have proposed to her in the first place. It's like, what are you doing here? But anyways, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really, really appreciate it, guys. I can't tell you enough. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little ding-a-ling for notifications. Tell your friends about the channel, and I will see you in the next one.